Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, December 16th, 2021, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. We have an awesome show for you today. Why attend the Real Estate Photography Training Conference, REP Training Conference, that will be Thursday, May 26th and Friday, May 27th, 2022 in St. Louis. And here to talk to us about it is the co-organizer of REP Training Conference, Zach Molino. Hey, Zach, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And thanks for being on the show today. I know you're struggling with the cold, so you're a real trooper for being on the show today. Hey, Zach, before we jump into the topic about why attend the REP Training Conference and what it is, why don't we begin with since you're the co-organizer, tell us a little bit about Zach Molino and how the conference came about.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. Growing up, I had office jobs, desk jobs, never did any service kind of jobs, and got into real estate photography mostly because I was laid off and had a severance package. And I took half that severance and I said, okay, I'm going to go do home staging. And when I realized, okay, that's not really something that is a high volume thing, I said, okay, maybe I'll get into real estate video. And I went out and bought 2 cameras. I bought all sorts of equipment, lighting equipment, and so on and so forth. And I started to market my services. Well, I started to learn the services, learn how to offer the services. And then I started to market those services. Then I realized really quickly, video is more of a supplemental thing as opposed to a bread and butter type of thing. And so then I got into, okay, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to make it? It was kind of do or die. It was a really tough situation for my family and I. And I said, okay, maybe real estate photography. And so I started learning through YouTube, online videos, just various things. And that's how I kind of started to teach myself, or learn from these other videos. And I started a business. And, I had to do it a little bit differently than most people. But I made it work. We had a situation where I was working 2 jobs. We were behind on our bills. I've got a funny story about this, but we were behind on our bills. We were really struggling. And here I am, trying to, get jobs, get my first few clients under my belt. And so that's what I was doing. I was out there trying to learn, trying to put it all together. Then you have to act like you've been there before because nobody wants to hire someone who's just a beginner. And I remember as I was doing all this, I finally had gotten a couple clients. And I was behind on my bills, behind on my cars, trying to do everything I could to stay afloat, getting up at 3 a.m., working at the rec center. Then I ended up working as not a paralegal, but an assistant for a law firm. So I do that job. Then I go to the paralegal job. Then I would go and I would try to run my business. Meanwhile, I've got, at the time, 5 kids. We have 7 kids now. I just started going for it. I just kind of started putting myself out there. Anyways, the culmination of it all, I finally started to see some light at the end of the tunnel. And I was in a position where I had just come home from doing 4 shoots. It was my biggest day ever. I was so happy that I had that many shoots. And then I thought, okay, now I got to come home and edit these. And this is I'm going to be up all night, but I was happy. I come home, I put my memory card into the computer. I have literally no money in my bank, very little. And I put the memory card in and it says that my files are corrupted, as in I couldn't view anything that I had shot that day. And my heart just sank. I could not believe what was happening. And I'm in my home office, which was a bedroom that I had converted to an office. I'm like, do I even tell my wife this? She's stressed out. Anyway, so I look into my credit card that I had, and I have, I think, a $300 left to my name. I spend $79 on this memory card recovery software, and I was able, luckily, to recover every file with the exception of 5. And I thought, oh my goodness, yes, I'm going to be able to do this. And then my computer either had a virus or something happened. And as I was editing, everything shut down. My computer didn't work. And I thought, oh no, this is turning into the worst. So I get on the phone with Best Buy It's close to their closing time. I said, what is your cheapest computer? At the time, it was like $200 for some cheap computer on sale. I rush down there, get there at 9:55 before they close at 10, walk out with this computer. Now I got to go home, deal with how slow it is, set it all up, edit these photos and all this. So I get the computer, I pull up to my house, and my neighbor is blocking my car from from a tow truck guy. A guy came to repossess my other car when I came and arrived home. And I thought, so here I am, my wife's crying at the door, my neighbor's stopping the tow truck drive from taking my car away, and I'm holding, the last bit of money in the form of a computer in my hand next to me. And I'm like, wow, this cannot. And I just started laughing. I could not believe it. I go to my neighbor, I say, let the tow truck guy take the car. My wife's crying. I'm like, let's just go to bed. I've got to get these, I set up the computer, I get the photos out. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I play basketball with a group of guys. And it was 5:30 when I finally had finished all my edits. And I'm like, well, it's the next day. It's time to go play ball. And I went and played basketball. And I remember after that experience, I thought, boy, like, here I am trying to start this business on my own, trying to learn everything, trying to do everything and try to figure it out on my own. I don't remember there being really any classes that I could participate in other than watching online videos, although I could be wrong about that. But I remember that was kind of the point where I'm like, okay, it can only go up from here, and then it did. And, we got our car back eventually, and we just kind of kept going and kept going and kept going. And then my business took off. It became more and more successful. And I thought, boy, if I could ever teach anyone what not to do or how to do this in the beginning, like, I would totally do it. Now you fast forward, and here we are, 9 years later, and I started coaching people. I started helping people. I had advertisements out, and people would pay me, and I would train them, as best as I knew how to start a business, the whole back end. I mean, it was the whole shebang. And I did everything. And then as I kind of started, going on from that, I said, okay, well, here I am. I own this business. It runs itself. I've got, great office staff who work from home. I've got a great team of people as it's now grown. My wife and I purchased a Cold Stone Creamery, which is just a few buildings to the east of where my office is, where I'm at right now. I've got 7 kids, they work. And so here I am. I wake up every day and I'm like, okay, the Cold Stone runs itself. My business runs itself. Like, we do other things. We like to go on vacation. We have these other interests that we have. And I thought, boy, maybe I should try to do something else. Like, should I start another business? Should I do something? And I remember going to work and realizing that I wasn't needed there. And then I would just sit in a parking lot for 2 hours. So my wife thought I was at work and I was just sitting in a parking lot. Like, what can I do more? Like, what's the next step for me? And I started, spending a lot more time with my kids. Not that I didn't before, but, I would take over my wife's responsibilities and drop them off at school, pick them up from school, be home when they were home. And my wife very quickly was like, well, now I'm not doing anything. And, she didn't want to live that life. And so, so she kicked me out of that real fast. And so here I was back to square, like, what am I going to do? And so I started to have ideas for, like, what if I did a real estate photography conference? And I knew that there was, the PFRE conference, which is a great conference. I watched the last one. I thought it was fabulous. But I wanted to take kind of a different approach. I wanted to do something that was like training based, classroom based. So as opposed to having speakers get up and speak to you, as inspiring as that is, I wanted people to walk away and say, not only am I inspired, I know what to do because I was just taught how to do it. And so I got in touch with Josh with Show and Tour. I started talking to him. He put me in touch with Brendan. I had always been in touch with Eli, just through email about various things.
This is Brendan Sue.
Yeah, Brendan,
who is
Aerial
the
Canvas.
conference host and managing partner of Aerial Canvas. And let's see, Josh Mays, who is the founder of Show and Tour and Sherpa Media. And I think I heard one more name in there.
Eli Jones.
Eli Jones, the founder of Norman and Young, and also the creator of Real Estate Photographer Pro, as well as other courses.
Exactly. For real estate. Yeah. And we'll go through them in just a minute. But yes, that was, I got in touch with them. I was in California for for on vacation, I met with Brendan, who, as you mentioned, owns Aerial Canvas. And I just thought, when I met Brendan, I was like, this guy has such high energy. He would be such a great host for the conference. But I started talking to everybody about, what their goals were, what their influence was, like what the next steps were for them. And anyways, I kind of formulated this plan to say, okay, let's have this conference-based training. And that's kind of the birth of, how the conference started to be. And, that's the long story of, my life and how it transitioned to where I'm at now. And, the birth of this conference.
Well, what I'm hearing is that, Zach, when you started your photography business, Simple Shoot,
Yep.
You're super successful today with Simple Shoot Real Estate Photography Agency, but it probably took you many years longer to get there had you had the right resources and training along the way to help accelerate that path. That's what
Exactly. Yeah. So when I had started, like I said, I looked at YouTube videos, articles, lots of different material out there. And it was, for me, a lot of trial and error. And it could have just been that I was naive to what was maybe out there. And at the same time, trying to balance that with, I need income, I need to make money, but I've got to offer a good product. And so I just remember spending in my office about 24 hours straight one time, just going through, trying to learn everything I could, and then going and shooting, my house, my family members' houses, and trying to learn everything that I could. And I always, I think, had that thought in the back of my mind, like, what if there was some course? And again, I hate to say that, because I'm sure that there was a course. Rich Baum probably had a course back then, and I watch his videos, and they're fabulous, and other videos, just awesome videos. And I remember saying, man, I wish I would have thought to look more. And I probably had looked at some of their videos, but that's kind of why, I thought, okay, if we could take that and bring it into a conference setting and have people training, learning, asking questions, and having everything at once, like, that's what I wanted to do. And that's kind of where this idea stemmed from.
So if a real estate photographer attends Rep Training Conference, the 2 days, May 26th and 27th, 2022 in St. Louis, describe the feeling or the experience that you would like to have those photographers feel or experience by the time they're done with the 2 days.
Yeah. So we want it to be more than just a feeling. Like I said, like when it comes to, feeling inspired, a lot of people can achieve that. And you have that feeling of inspiration, it only will carry you so long. What carries you beyond inspiration is knowledge and how to do something. And so that's kind of the experience we want them to receive. So when somebody comes to this conference, and I think I mentioned this before, we want them to feel like, wow, Eli did it, or, Josh did it, or Krista did it, or Amy did it. And look how experienced they are, and look how beautiful their work is. And I feel so inspired. But beyond that, I want them to walk out and feel like, okay, not only do I feel good about this, like, I now know how, like, Amy taught me how to do this thing. And she'll be focusing, we'll talk about her, on a twilight photography. And we want people to walk out and say, not only do I feel good about this, like, I was taught how, I was able to ask questions, I was able to get that knowledge. And then to say, listen, I'm surrounded by so many other people that have experience. And because it's classroom based, I can turn to next to them and say, hey, what are, like, tell me about you. Tell me about what your experience is. Or, we want people to know not just the gear that's being used or the story behind the person. We want them to know the how. And when you look at different, real estate photography groups and questions that are asked, it's a lot of technique-based questions, or a lot of, how do you do this, or how is everyone doing this? And so you already kind of have that collaborative atmosphere there, and you'll get, 30, 40 replies sometimes more. And here at this conference, we want it to be like 300 replies, like all of that times 10,
So dive deeper into the how-tos of what will be learned.
Okay. So in the real estate photography conference, like the way that it's structured it's so we have the grand ballroom. And so that's a stage with a lot of tables, which is rarely going to be used. It's really just for a general assembly, so to speak. So, Brendan will come in, he'll kick it off.
Now, this is
Brendan,
at the, this is, I said in St. Louis, but it's actually at the Hilton at the ballpark in St. Louis.
The Hilton at the ballpark in St. Louis. Yeah. May 26th, May 27th. And so Brennan will come in, he'll kick it off with just an introduction speech, 15 minutes. And then the way that we have this structured, and then I'll get into what's going to be taught, is people will then they'll leave the grand ballroom and they'll break out into a series of between 2 and 3, maybe 4 classes, none of which are competing with each other. So you'll have one route with all of the photographers who are, wanting to learn a skill or a technique. So it could be, composition, it could be twilight photography. It could be just very lighting, flambient, teaching somebody flambient. The second class, which will be happening at that same time for about an hour and a half, will be, business development. So, okay, I have the technique. Now I want to learn how to, the business side of things, how to make things more efficient. What are your processes? Who are your editors? Like, give me some ideas. Tell me who you're using. Like, let's go through and figure out what my process could be to become more efficient. So that's what lacks a lot in training, right? Everybody learns a lot about how to shoot the photos and focuses on that. But a lot of people, where a lot of businesses fail, is business management. And so how to manage my business. And so that'll be like another class separate than the technique-based class that's going on right next door. And then a third class would be something like, scaling my business. Like, I now have contract photographers. I need legal help, and so we have David Deal is our attorney there, or maybe platforms like, I am scaling. I need a better platform than what I'm using. I'm stitching everything together. I need something different than that. And so that'll kind of be the third avenue. And over the course of the years of this conference, we hope that people will kind of graduate to the next section or just continue to learn other, skills and techniques. So then the question is, okay, so now you have these classes, you have, this intro, you have this breakout, you have then lunch after that. We'll have a catered lunch. And if you don't have a ticket for the catered lunch, you go get lunch, come back, we'll have 3 more classes, and then we'll have 3 more classes after that. So what's going to be taught? So we're going to be teaching everything from, composition, lighting, flambient, twilight photography, how to get your first, 50 clients, what platforms are being used, like what I wish I knew, before I started in this business. What are your processes like? How do you find an editing team? How do you train your editing team? This is, taxes, bookkeeping, like, how to quickly shoot and edit a video. iPhone, like one thing that we're adding to the conference that wasn't there before is a lot of people have their iPhone 13 Pro Max and they're seeing some awesome looking videos. Obviously, not quite same here, and not quite the quality of, a DSLR camera, but, there are people like Amy posted a beautiful video.
This is Amy Thorpe, owner,
yes.
photographer, Amy Thorpe Photography.
Correct. Yes. And she posted a beautiful video and just a walkthrough of a home. And it's just something that a value add to your clients, or, hey, we're going to throw this on for $150 or whatever. Again, not quite DSLR quality, but still something to offer. And people are like, okay, well, how do you do that? What equipment are you using? What are your techniques? How do you, and all these things, how to brand management, how to get luxury homes, like, how to get started in this industry the right way. How can I'm just so much stuff, like, and it's on the conference registration page, which
I'll point that out. The shortcut to get there, wgan.info/rep conference, wgan.info/rep conference.
And so, and then all things 3D, which is where you come in. And, and so we want to, like, as we get feedback. Now, let me backtrack for just a minute. When I initially received permission to post about this, It was months and months ago when we had the concept and had some speakers. I knew that I was going to get torn apart because I had just joined the Facebook group that I was posting in, and I knew what was coming. And I sat there, I posted on a Sunday, and then I sat there the rest of Sunday just replying to everybody. And it was fine. Like I get it. Like I'm a big boy. And anyways, in my inbox, in my instant messages that night on Facebook, I had 119 personal messages of people like either saying they wanted to participate, they wanted to sponsor, they wanted to attend. And I thought, wow, that's a large amount of messages. So there's, clearly I'm on the right path. When we did kind of our soft announcement several weeks ago, a month ago, same thing. I had about 50, 60, I'd have to count it again, but it's somewhere between the just responses of, I want to go, tell me more, which has led to me just, responding back and forth to various people.
So you've started to describe the how to, the tactical things to learn. If I am thinking about starting a real estate photography business, is this conference for me?
Yes. So I actually just got off the phone. So a guy that, so when I had my training business, when I would do personal coaching, a guy had saved my number. And he's actually, I think, probably watching right now because I sent the link about 20 minutes before this show started. He called me saying, hey, I work in logistics. I want to get out of it. I saved your number. I'm interested. And I said, well, I'm not doing the coaching right now, but you caught me at a perfect time because in 20 minutes, you're going to be watching this show. And I sent him the link to your show. And I basically explained to him like why the conference would be good for not just people who are in the industry or trying to develop their skill, but people who are trying to either transition from part-time photographer to full-time photographer, or I'm not yet a real estate photographer, or I'm some other kind of photographer and I want to become a real estate photographer. And the conference, because of the 3 tracks that we have of classes, you can come in. And again, if we have enough people who are literally brand new to photography, maybe just bought equipment or haven't bought equipment yet, we may create, because this conference is flexible, we'll create a separate 4-hour class for them. And I know 4 hours isn't enough. And we'll have a trainer, someone to sit there with those people and say, okay, you're brand new, get out your camera. Let's show you the settings that we're talking square one. And so this conference
who else is appropriate for rep training conference?
So you have the people who want to break into the industry. You have the people who are in the industry or they're in it part-time and they're just trying to improve their lighting, their composition, trying to figure out the best equipment to use, the best lens to use. How can I improve these photos? You'll see a lot of posts on real estate photographer groups about, take a look. Can I get some critique on these? So there's that group. Then there's the group that's like, listen, I've been doing this for, 5, 6, 7 years on my own. I'd like to hire someone else. Maybe I want to have an exit strategy, whatever it may be. Everyone has their reasons. And those people that have the experience, but want to expand and grow their business. And so that's another avenue as well. And then obviously the people that have a group of people that are like, okay, I have 6, 7, 10, 3, 2, whatever amount of photographers working for me. Now I have a whole new set of problems that I'm trying to figure out. And so with each stage of someone's progression, or maybe just each stage, maybe they don't want to progress to the next stage. They like to keep it kind of boutique style. But with each stage that someone's in, there is something for them at this conference. And we're making sure of that. And the conference is flexible. And that, for example, if, Chris Miller, this is
Chris Miller, founder of One Point Media.
Correct. Yes. His stuff is beautiful. He's working 18-hour days. If you look at his posts, he's doing a twilight in the morning, first light in the morning, and a sunset at night, and then doing his bread and butter in the middle of the day. His stuff is stunning. You look at his stuff and he could easily train on, twilight Flambient, I mean, anything. And what he's going to focus on one of the days is going to be quickly shooting video of a house, quickly shooting and editing video of a house, because he can do it really fast. And he wants to train people on, how to use your DSLR to shoot and edit video quickly, but he could do anything. And so if the need comes and we say, hey, Chris, we've got a group of, 75 people over here who need this, he'll easily and quickly turn and say, okay, that's what I'll do. Like, that's what my focus will be, or I'll change this, And so as the conference gets closer, obviously we've left room for growth and flexibility, but as the conference gets closer, we'll nail down what everybody's needs are, and we'll have set classes and so on and so forth, and be able to even tailor make it to all the attendees even more so.
Okay, great. So not a beginner photographer, someone who's been shooting for a year or two, and this is a full-time job. Is there content? Is there how-to? What's in it for someone who's been in the business for a few years, and this is a full-time job for them?
Yeah. So that person could be at a crossroads. They could be at a point where they're saying, okay, I've been in it full-time for 1 or 2 years. I either want to take my portfolio to the next level, or I want to add certain services that I haven't added yet. And for example, I've been in it for 9 years. We didn't start offering 2D floor plans until just last month. I know that sounds sad. We shoot for just over 3,000 agents. And so we stay busy year round. Obviously the winter slows down a little bit, but we stay busy to the point where now in the winters, I used to be scared about, am I going to have enough business? Why am I not having customers come in? Are they all going to someone else? When really it was just no one's selling, no one's wanting to move around Christmas, but it then transitioned into, okay, I'm confident in my customer base. Now I spend those winters either trying to do something else, or what other service can I add? So back to the 2-year photographer, they could be in a position where they're saying, okay, I haven't had a chance to look into this. I want to offer this service that I don't currently offer, and I think it's just going to be too time consuming to add it to my business. And this conference will teach them all of the various add-on services that they can offer and how to do them. And then that person can say, okay, I'm going to go this route. Now, maybe that person says, okay, I'm a little burnt out. It's been 2 years. I need to hire someone else. I want to train some. How do I hire somebody? How do I train them? What are the contracts involved? How do I lock them in with me? Whatever it may be. And so that person could easily want to go that route. This conference is for them. Like, everybody is in and not only that, the people that are training the conference, which we'll go to, they've all been here. They've all done that. They all understand, how to keep the boutique style of a business, that customer first feel, and then scale the business, And so they're going to get a little bit of everything. So it's really, what path do you want to go down? And also, I'll say this to finish answering your question. There are 3 sets of classes over 2 days. So you could attend 6 different classes. You'll have the video to all of the classes, but you may say, okay, I want to learn a little bit about business, and I want to learn about this new technique that I want to do, or something I want to add. And they could easily go to, a technique or a skill-based training for the morning class, and go to a business development training, in their afternoon class. Or, one morning they do this class, and the next morning they'll jump over to this one. So there's something in it for everybody at all levels. And that's what we're most excited about. And to bring it into a classroom-based training so that people are getting questions answered. They're actually seeing the work done live. Obviously we're not going to walk outside and take pictures and then walk back in with 100 people in a class, but everybody will have their computers. There'll be a projector. I mean, it's going to be showing you, this is how I do it. Here are some other options, and write these down. Like, let's learn from this, and then rewatch this video that's going to be for you, because you're going to get this right. We want to make sure you get this right. And not only that, message me after we're done. If you're having any questions, be in touch with me and I'll answer your questions.
That sounds like a good time to go through the list of speakers.
Yeah.
If I may, how about I go through the 15 speakers. I'll give you their name, their title, their company, and perhaps you could tell us why you reached out to each of the speakers, and then in addition, what they'll be training on.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Sounds great.
Amir Frank, Senior Evangelist, Matterport.
You can probably tell us more about Amir Frank. Amir Frank is he's been on, I think he was on a week straight with you, wasn't he? That's what he had mentioned. And the purpose of having, Amir there, and it really could have been, any representative for anyone that offers 3D, but, Matterport seems to be pretty prevalent. And so we went with Amir because he's got extensive knowledge on everything, the technicality of everything, various add-on options, how to do everything there. And so we went with him because if people are just getting, that could be a value add. So that could be something that people want to use as an add-on service. And go ahead.
Zach, I said, let's do this alphabetically, but I'm actually paired with Amir Frank. I will be attending. I'm the founder and managing editor. We Get Around Network Forum and WGAN TV live at 5. And I'm paired up with Amir, Senior Evangelist, Matterport. We're going to do training on 2 different sessions. The first one is 25 advanced tips for real estate photographers using Matterport. So an example of that, give you a couple of examples, is what's a Matterport sandwich? How do I know I need one? And how do I do it? If you're shooting Matterport dollhouses of swimming pools and the water is coming out black, how to make the water blue.
Which I didn't even know you could do.
That's why we're doing 25 advanced tips for real estate photographers using Matterport. So this particular training session is targeted to those that are already using Matterport and want to take it to the next level, or those that are thinking about Matterport. And if they knew what kind of techniques were available to achieve a result, then that might be helpful. So that's our first session, 25 advanced tips for real estate photographers using Matterport. I'm going to tee up some questions for Matterport Senior Evangelist Amir Frank. And then we will do a second session on Matterport platform partners add-ons for real estate photographers to make money. So I think anyone who's spending some time in the We Get Around Network Forum or WGAN TV Live at 5 knows that I'm all about business and how to make money. And I really want to focus on add-ons and Matterport partners. There's now more than 100 different Matterport partners using their API SDKs to create tools that add value to Matterport spaces that photographers can get paid more money. So if you're already shooting Matterport and you're not doing virtual staging or taking advantage of single property websites, or the fact that you can do live guided tours within Matterport spaces, and how do you do that, then our session is going to do a deep dive talking about specific end results that are possible with Matterport when you pair Matterport with a third-party platform, which essentially is an add-on that can for a photographer to make more money, and probably make more money without taking any more time, either on site or in post-production, just by knowing there's a third-party tool that can be added on and then make some more money with that. So again, our that session, Matterport platform partners, that's about add-ons for real estate photographers to make more money. I know Amir Frank is super excited about that. And I see that is the how-to and the tactical. And if you just knew this, this, and this, then wow, you could be making more money with Matterport and by pairing it with other Matterport platform partners. So alphabetically, we skipped from Amir Frank to Dan Smigrod. Let's go up to Amy Thorpe, owner, lead photographer for Amy Thorpe Photography. Why did you invite Amy? What's Amy going to be training on?
Yeah, and let me actually, before I talk about Amy, the Matterport situation. So I think what you're doing there is fabulous, because most people, at least us anyway, we have time to go do a Matterport, send it to the client. And although we know that there are some add-ons, we almost sometimes think like, oh, if we start offering this, are we going down a rabbit hole that we don't want to go down? And is it, what is the time versus what we're going to make on it? And people are going to realize like, wow, you can do all these other things and it's not that time consuming, and we want to maximize, our profits. Now on to Amy. So Amy, I saw a Twilight picture that she took that I swore was flamboyant or flash. It was beautiful. And I said, wow, and then I ended up talking to her. I found out that it was, HDR. And I said, wow, what is your process to make it look so stunning? And everyone that knows her or follows her, knows what I'm talking about. And so I got her and I said, we would love for you to teach us, shooting interiors, because her interiors are fabulous, or shooting Twilights. And she felt like, her real expertise is interiors, but also she really felt like Twilight was where to go. And so she's going to teach, her techniques on how she shoots Twilights. She brackets her shots and how she edits her Twilights, so that they just look absolutely stunning. So that's going to be a technique or a skill-based course. And so we're happy to have her on. Her work is wonderful.
Brendan Sue, conference host and managing partner, Aerial Canvas.
Yeah, so Brendan bought into Aerial Canvas in the early years, and he basically took that business, which is a premium business, and he scaled it, and he did a fabulous job. I talked to him over lunch at Oceanside at the harbor. And learned a little bit more about him and was really impressed with the kind of character he is, what his goals are, and the way that he runs his business. And it's fabulous. I couldn't have been more impressed. I didn't know what to expect, but Brendan was fabulous. And the energy that he has and the positivity that he has, just such a good, just good energy. And I knew right away, I said, if I'm going to have someone host this conference, it's got to be Brendan. And not only that, even though he may not be teaching a class, he's available to, he could teach a class just as well as anyone else, especially on the business development side and how to scale your business. I mean, he took Aerial Canvas from what it was and just multiplied it exponentially. And is becoming an influencer. And I really like Brendan. I think he's awesome.
David Deal, founder of the law offices of David Deal.
Yeah. So David Deal works with, intellectual property, copyright infringement, and every conference, you need to have some kind of attorney present to answer a lot of those questions. When I look at the various Facebook groups, a lot of questions are, oh, someone took my photos, somebody posted my photos, what can I do? What kind of recourse do I have? Should I fight this battle? Should I not fight this battle? And then you have those questions. You don't see them as often, but they're certainly there. What kind of contracts should I have with my, contract photographers? What kind of contract should I have with the agents that I work with if I choose to do that? Some people don't like contracts, some do. We want to make sure that he's there to teach about that and answer any questions. I mean, when you have an attorney there, oftentimes they can take up they can steal the whole show because there's just so much that you want to ask them. And so he'll be having his own class altogether, Q&A, speech, answering questions, going over various laws. Obviously, he's not an attorney in every state, but he'll do a fabulous job. We are so excited to have him on as well. He's going to do great for us.
Charlie Simon, founder and CEO, Charlie Simon Photo and Charlie Simon Training.
Yeah, so Charlie Simon, he's based out of Spain. We're flying him in from Spain. And his expertise is how going and shooting luxury property. When we think of Spain, we think, oh, it's beautiful, it's awesome, great atmosphere. Spain, I didn't know this until he told me, but Spain is one of the poorest countries in the world. And he goes out and he basically, his expertise is, how do you get those luxury listings? How do you pitch those clients? How do you find those clients? How do you shoot those luxury listings? What's different about the luxury listing than your cookie cutter type houses? And so he's going to train us on all things luxury. He also has a lot of experience managing teams. So he has a team of photographers as well, and how to manage teams. And I think the way he put it, his real expertise is client services, how to retain your clients, how to keep them happy, how to make sure that everyone is having, and when you're in the luxury market, like that goes hand in hand with having absolutely fabulous customer service. He actually was a PGA golfer as well. He was on the PGA Tour. And, and that might be something some people want to chat with him about. But yeah, we're happy to have him. We're flying him in from Spain.
Chris Miller, founder, One Point Media.
Yeah, everyone knows Chris. Chris is, he's just stunning. He's a humble guy. He goes out, he learned his trade, he learned it really well, and he does a fabulous job. I think I'm surprised he hasn't been asked to speak at a conference before. He does such a good job, and his expertise, when I talked to him initially, I was thinking, okay, maybe teach us Twilight. You do a lot with drone, teach us your flambient technique. He has some YouTube videos out there. And he actually had approached me and said, hey, I've got some stuff out there. And I knew right away his stuff was awesome. And I had to have him there for the people. And I initially thought, okay, he would be great to train on flambient photography, and he probably will. But his thing was, hey, listen, I've got a technique that I use that I can shoot video with the drone and the DSLR and edit it really fast so I can get it done, this quick and get it out to the clients. And so he'll be trained on that, but we're happy to have him.
Christopher Bradford, CFO and architectural photographer / cinematic creator, Dream Home Images.
So Chris does a lot of architectural photography, and we want to make sure that we have that element at the conference for those who are trying to get into architectural type of photography. And he's also all things drone for Dream Home, the Dream team. And so we're happy to have him. He'll do a great job. A lot of people, once they develop their skill to a certain level, oftentimes they want a new challenge. And usually that next challenge is, I want to get into architecture. It pays more. I think I can do it. How do I do it? And so we want to have that element there as well.
Daryl Stringer, real estate photographer, coach and consultant, buildaphotographybusiness.com.
Yeah. So Daryl is awesome. He is one of the admins of the real estate photography Facebook group. He's been great to work with. Very good, very responsive. We're flying him from Australia. We're flying him in from Australia. And he actually had recommended Samantha Ward, who we're going to talk about in a minute. And so he's a coach. He's worked with a lot of people. He had his own business that he ended up selling, got into coaching, and he has these various modules that people go through. Great trainer, fabulous trainer, very, very steady and even-handed, very composed. And he's going to talk to us. There's, again, a couple roads there, but his focus is going to be pricing your services, how to price your services in your market without, being without necessarily lowballing it or, overpricing it. How do you price it? How do you do price increases without losing clients? That's where some of his focus is going to be.
Eli Jones, founder, Norm and Young, and the creator of Real Estate Photographer Pro.
Yeah. So Eli is the founder of Norman and Young. And then he developed his course. So Eli is probably everybody's first, not everybody's, but when people are looking for some kind of course to take, oftentimes they'll run into Eli. And Eli does a great job in his courses. I actually bought his courses. I didn't need to have his courses, but I wanted to support him. And I thought what he did was awesome. And I wanted to kind of offer something similar because I was coaching at the time. And I looked at his courses and I thought, wow, he really lays this out in such an easy to understand way. and kind of cuts through a lot of the clutter. He has opinions on why he does things the way he does things, which you could take or leave. And he lays out his reasoning, which is very sound. And his stuff is awesome. He's a great personality. A lot of people want to meet him. A lot of people, he's got a pretty good following, a really good following, and we're really excited to have him as a speaker. He's fabulous, and he has a lot of experience, and he could really train about anything, especially business related. And he'll be talking to us about new concepts on how to, get those first 10 clients, how to get those first 50 clients, how to grow your business quickly from the beginning. Like when you're just getting started, or you're wondering, man, how do I get these clients? How do I get more clients more quickly? And obviously there's not a get rich quick scheme here, but he has methods that he has employed that have worked for him and those who he has trained, that help them to obtain clients in a unique way and to scale your business quickly.
Eli's been a guest on WGAN TV Live at 5 a couple times. And for our audience, I would suggest for those that attend the Rep Training Conference who are Matterport Pro 2 camera users, is to ask Eli why he switched from Matterport Pro 2 3D cameras for all his photographers to Ricoh Theta Z1 cameras. That's a really interesting conversation. We'll save that for the Rep Training Conference. Greg Hansen, Chief Operating Officer, also with Dream Home Images.
Yeah, so we have the Dream Home team, and maybe now would be a great time to talk about Krista as well.
Krista Abel, founder and CEO of Dream Home Images.
Yeah, that's a husband-wife team. And so, Krista and Greg just have a great story altogether. They have, they're working on a new concept right now that, they just have a lot going on. They work really well with their clients. They're going to be training on, you name it, but it's going to be mostly on the business side of things. Scaling your business, how to work with different agents, conversations you should be having, how to be in touch with your agents. Everything. So, and then obviously other business things, how you're going to scale your business, how you're going to grow it. They're coming as a team, and they're going to do a fabulous job for us. Like I don't want to get into what they're going to talk about, quite yet, but their marketing is phenomenal. They're really honed in on SEO, in all platforms of marketing, and they're going to really hone in on that at the conference.
I know a number of members of the We Get Around Network Forum are husband and wife, so that may be an interesting question, is if you are running a real estate photography business in conjunction with the spouse, how do you make it work?
Yeah, Samantha Ward, actually, who's going to be speaking, she's the founder of Picture KC. And maybe we'll just talk about her now. She's the same way. She's a husband and wife team. And it's interesting, when I heard her story, I was like, wow, I was blown away, because she had a young child, was into real estate. She was, I think, being coached by Daryl Stringer, had a young child, and forgive me, Samantha, if you hear this and I'm butchering it. And then she was pregnant with her second child while trying to run this business and shoot. And her husband got involved, and they kind of became a team. And so they had an interesting setup as to how they handle the shoots, how they handle the editing, getting out the images, delivering everything. And she has a great story. And not only is it inspirational, but she's going to teach you, this is exactly what I do. So if you are a single mom or single dad, or you are a husband and wife team, or, this is how you can do it. These are certain things you can employ to make sure that your business stays successful and that your image stays the way that it should. Because people can pick up pretty quickly on, oh, my photographer seems like they're always, there's kids in the background, or there's this going on, or, how to keep that image while maintaining a busy lifestyle, especially with young children involved. And she'll be talking about that at the conference as well.
Josh Mays, founder, Show and Tour, and Sherpa Media.
Yeah, so Josh, he loves all the different platforms. And even though he kind of competes with, other content delivery platforms like Ario or Go Full Frame, His is a little bit different because he doesn't have as extensive of a platform. I shouldn't say that, but he doesn't have, scheduling or, other elements of it. But he knows everything about all the different platforms. And so he's going to be talking to those who are interested in possibly ARIO or, Go Full Frame or various content delivery providers. He's going to talk about, what's great about each one, to help people who are in that arena who want to stop piecing things together. Who want, a lot of people say, okay, I do my email through here and I schedule on this and I deliver through Dropbox or Box or whatever, and he's going to explain, the pros of each one to help people, to guide them on that path as to, where they, what might work best for them. And he's going to present it in such a way that's going to be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I would add parenthetically to that, if you're thinking, oh, I'm way too busy to go to rep training conference because there's so many things about my business. If you come, I could imagine if you come to the conference and you go to Josh's session, you'll go, oh my gosh, there's ways to run this business so much more efficiently. I had no idea. So for those, you go, you don't know what you don't know. If you're so busy, you don't have time to attend the rep training conference, then this is exactly right for you, because you'll find out how everybody else is using tools and solutions to make the workflow much faster, much easier, and probably cost less money.
Yeah. And to add to that, with this conference, it's kind of like what I mentioned before. People shoot in different styles. I look at some pictures and I say, that's not how I would shoot. But clearly the agent likes what they're doing because they have clients. And agents sometimes are hard to please, and sometimes they just don't know the difference between a good photo and a bad photo, and everywhere in between. And so the issue oftentimes is not, how good am I shooting? It's what am I doing to become more efficient in my processes so I have more time for me and for my family or for whatever my goals are. And how am I going to make this business continue to be sustainable? I need my highest and best use as a business owner is not photographing a home necessarily. It's what am I doing on the back end to manage this business so that it stays profitable for a long time to come? Or how do I make it automated? Or again, everybody has different goals, but oftentimes it's not necessarily the shooting, it's how efficient are you in your business? And that's where a lot of people struggle. And we want to make sure that this conference teaches people all the different things they could be doing and how to do them so that they can be more efficient, have more time for themselves or for whatever their goals are. One thing that is both good and bad for me, and I mentioned it before, is I have a lot of time on my hands. So my typical day is I wake up, I may go play basketball with a group of guys. I come home, I get my kids to school, and I'll take a nap, for 2 hours. And then I'll wake up and say, okay, now I'm going to do, I have a lot, and other days I don't have time for a nap, but the good thing about that is that I have time, because I've learned how to make my business efficient, is I have time to do other projects, to do other things, to purchase another business, to reach some of my broader life goals. But if your goal is just to shoot photos for the rest of your life, then that's fabulous as well. But we want to make sure that people have those tools.
Yes, I was tuned in at the very beginning of the show where you talked about your very first day with 4 different projects, and you spent the night editing your photos. And I imagine that there'll be at least one trainer talking about alternatives for photo editing and outsourcing, so that you can spend more time with your family or your friends, or playing basketball, or taking your 2-hour nap. And so there really are other workflows than how you're presently doing business. It might be nice to hear, what are the other workflows? What are other photographers to my left and right doing? And then if I still decide I want to keep my workflow, that's great. But at least you made a conscious decision, knowing what the options were. And you mentioned floor plans. I can think of probably at least a dozen solutions for offering floor plans and which is the right floor plan solution for you, or
Yeah.
photo editing. Does it make sense to outsource, or should I do it myself? And if I'm going to do it myself, what might that workflow look like, and what are different workflows for doing that? Vic DeVore, founder DeVore Design.
Yeah, so Vic, I liked his Facebook posts. He had some very good Facebook posts that were just casual, not pushy, not formal. He always is a part of some event, and he does good business, and he's expanding and does a great job. And so I thought, I've never, you can view me as an idiot or you can view me as a genius, because if you look at my Facebook page, and it's been pointed out to me plenty of times, there's nothing there. And yet we shoot for over 3,000 clients, so I'm either an idiot or I'm a genius, or I'm totally lacking and could have 5,000 clients, and, I've just never been super involved in Facebook. And he does a great job at marketing himself, his services, through events and other things. And I wanted to bring him in. Obviously he could train on everything because he owns the business and he's done such a fabulous job with it. But Facebook and honing in on, Facebook, Instagram, other platforms is also his expertise. A little bit different than the Dream Team, which is going to be focused more on, SEO and all of that. But Vic is fabulous, and he's so easy to get along with, very casual, so approachable, and he'll do a fabulous job.
Awesome. Zach, I'm going to mention a special offer for the REP training conference. While I'm doing that, why don't you give some thought to any topics that we haven't covered that we should cover after the special offer. So you're ready to attend the REP training conference. You're going to head over to the website, wgan.info/REP conference. That's a short URL to get you to the longer URL for the real estate photography training conference, the REP training conference. And we have a special offer that Zach has been kind enough to extend to the We Get Around Network community, the WGAN TV viewers, WGAN Forum, WGANforum.com. You can save $50 with the coupon code WGAN. Zach, what haven't we covered that we should talk about?
Well, I think we got through everything. I think it was, pretty well covered. I would say that, as far as this conference goes, we're trying to do something different. We have a 4-year plan. I don't intend to make any kind of profit, at least on this first conference. I've bought and paid for the conference, so everything is paid for. We technically don't need sponsors, but we love sponsors. And so you'll notice in the coming weeks how different our sponsorship approach is going to be. We're excited for the companies that we're going to be working with, and how we're going to approach this sponsorship. It's going to be a little bit different. Our goal is to get people, we want this to be an education center. We want people to walk away. Maybe they come in skeptical, maybe they come in excited, maybe they come in hating. We want people to walk away and say, wow, like that was different. Like I felt like not just inspired, I felt educated. I felt like I now know what to do. Not only that, but I've got the person who trained me. I can get in touch with them. And if I have any other questions or if I'm struggling with something, I can still be in touch. I have now a network of people, more so than I had before, to help me with this. So our goal is to make sure that everyone comes out of this with just pure knowledge, how to do something, how to apply what they learned. And the specifics, what gear should I use? What products should I buy? Like, do I need all this stuff? Like, not only, and then how to do it. And so that's what our goal is at this conference. Let me add to that. The conference in St. Louis, we understand that it's on a holiday weekend. A lot of people have holiday plans. We say, bring your family, the place is beautiful. They have the Gateway Arch. You can walk right across the street to Ballpark Village. The Cardinals will be in town the same weekend of the conference. And we have a VIP dinner that's on the 360 rooftop restaurant. And I went up there and it was fab. You can see into Busch Stadium. I mean, it's just a beautiful venue. You've got the Mississippi, you've got the steamboat ride. I mean, everything is right there and it's in a very safe place. And not only that, like we want it to be just, we want everyone to have a great time. We want them to learn. We want them to be educated. But our goal is to have you come back. We want you to come back again. We want you to continue to learn. We want this to be a big undertaking, something that's just different than what has been offered before. And I have nothing against what has been offered before. We're just taking a different approach. We're having more of a hands-on classroom-based training approach. And that plays to all of our speakers' strengths. When I was talking to the speakers about, why they would be good for this and why it would work for them, a lot of their goals aligned with exactly what this conference is. They felt like, we're better in a hands-on setting. We like getting down and dirty. We like to train people. We like to teach them exactly what to do, how to do it. And so people that come to this conference, like if there's any skepticism about it, we invite you to put it away. And we think that you're really going to just enjoy and love and learn and grow from this conference. And we hope, our goal is, and our motivation is, that you're going to come back every year because you're going to just learn something new that you didn't learn before. And as the industry turns, we'll turn with the industry. And like I said, the iPhone 13 thing, that's something I never would have thought to offer to a client, and certainly didn't think about offering it at this conference. And then as I see how people are wanting to just learn that, maybe to add another $150 to a shoot, we'll teach it. We've got people that know it and can teach it. And so we want this to be for the people, and we want to stay flexible for them. And we are so excited for what this conference has to offer. And we hope that our speakers that are in our coaches and trainers that are going to be at that conference are going to stick with us for years to come. We want to lock them in because we know, their capabilities and what they can do. And so we're really excited for that.
I hadn't noticed that. So Zach, at the top of the show, you mentioned another conference. If I attended that conference, either in person or watching the live stream, do I really need to come to the rep training conference?
Absolutely. A lot of the questions that I received after the post, we had made the post, is I had gotten between 50 and 60 messages. Might have been more than that, but a lot of it was, hey, this is the experience I had at this conference. And, I can see where the potential is with yours. Tell me what the value add is going to be. And right off the bat, I was just engaging with everyone saying, oh, it's going to be this. The whole approach, the vibrancy, the energy is just going to be, what we want it to be. And again, I watched the other conference, PFRE, and they do a great job. I love their website. I watched it. I watched all the speakers. In fact, I think I became friends with one of them on Facebook, or a couple of them after. I thought it was fabulous. But ours, like I said, it's just different, and there's room for it. We want it to be more than just a networking and social event. We want it to be an education. We want it to be training. We want it to be, and that's the approach that we're doing. And so not only, to answer your question, not only is there going to be a value add, I mean, it's going to be a substantial value add, and you can pick and choose what you want to learn about, in addition to having the database of video after the conference. So if you wanted to be in one of the two classes, or maybe there was 3 classes in the morning and you could only do one each day or something, and you missed this one, you're going to have it on video. So you'll have it for yourself. And so it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Terrific. I would add for the We Get Around Network forum community, WGANforum.com, WGAN TV Live at 5, our audience today that's particularly interested in Matterport. I know I bought my Matterport camera in July of 2014, so I've been somewhat obsessed with all things Matterport and related for 7.5 years. When I bought my Matterport camera, it never even occurred to me that real estate agents would need photos or videos or aerial, and I thought I could just offer Matterport. And I think what you kind of quickly learn is that most real estate photographers that offer Matterport or other 3D 360 virtual tour solution, that Matterport is actually or other virtual tour solution is actually less than 15% of most successful professional real estate photographer business, because real estate agents want photos first, perhaps video second, perhaps floor plans third, perhaps aerial, and then virtual tours. So if you're thinking about getting started with Matterport or other 3D 360 virtual tour solution, or you have bought a Matterport camera and you're struggling trying to understand, like, why aren't you as busy as you think you could or should be, then Rep Training Conference is absolutely for you, because you've kind of stumbled into the business through one of the doors, but it turns out those other doors are more popular. So you really do need to be offering, if you want to be in the space of real estate, excuse me, residential real estate, then you really need to be offering photos and videos and aerial, drone, floor plans, etc. And so this is the Rep Training Conference is that opportunity to get that quick start, quick launch, get workflows, learn, etc. So I just add that. Excuse me. Sorry, Zach. And then before I give you the second to last word, I would just say that I am super excited about being one of the trainer speakers at the Rep Training Conference, May 26th and May 27th, 2022 in St. Louis. Love that I'm going to have an opportunity to do a session together with Matterport Senior Evangelist Amir Frank. We're actually doing 2 sessions. I'm going to tee up the topics for Amir of 25 advanced tips for real estate photographers using Matterport. And we'll also be doing a session on Matterport Platform Partner add-ons for real estate photographers to make more money. So I'm super excited about attending the Rep Training Conference, being there as well, not only to contribute as a trainer speaker, working with Amir Frank, who has 7+ years of deep dive knowledge within Matterport, but also to be there to learn as well. So thank you for including me in the Rep Training Conference, Zach. I appreciate it.
We're excited to have you. We really are.
If someone just tuned in, what's the elevator 30 seconds that you tell them about the Rep Training Conference?
So the Rep Training Conference is going to be a fabulous conference that is hands-on, training-based, education-based, that is not only going to inspire people, it's going to have them walk out of there knowing exactly what to do. So when those feelings of inspiration leave and you start to have that doubt of, like, I felt so good at the conference, but I'm now starting to wonder if I can do this or if I have time for it. We're going to have people that, that attend, and we want them feeling like, not only did I feel inspired, I now know what to do. I now know how to do it. I now have a support group of people that will help me how to do, teach me how to do it. I can be in touch with these people. We want people coming back year after year. We want this to be kind of like a university, like an education center, so that people that are just getting into the business, who are currently in the business but want to grow or want to offer something new, people that are looking to scale, we want this to be their source of, knowing what to do and how to do it. And might I put another thing, I should say this also, because I talked a little bit about PFRE. PFRE does have a fabulous database for those who were speakers that didn't make it onto the stage. And they have some great training videos. Bethany had a great training video on walkthrough tours. I know Dom was creating a video about aerials. And so I invite people to watch that as well. I think that any kind of education to help people to be better at their trade is good. And so I don't view this as any kind of like competition. I view it as, we just want to educate people. We want our industry to have a good reputation. And my goal in all of this is to just, even though I'm not training, is to promote that our industry has a good reputation, that people go out there, represent our industry well, that people get into it the right way. they take the right approaches, and they learn all the techniques, skills, how to be efficient, so on and so forth. And so we're really excited for what this conference is going to offer for other people.
Zach, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We've been visiting with Zach Molino. He is the co-organizer of Rep Training Conference that will be Thursday, May 26th and Friday, May 27th, 2022 in St. Louis. For Zach in the greater St. Louis, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum in Atlanta, and you've been watching WGAN